Okay. Alright, well I tweaked the settings. This should be a much healthier state than it was before. Well, I kind of feel like I should almost go backwards now, which I think I will do. Okay. One second here. Okay. So, well, everything was kind of messed up on that first go of the stream. So I I changed the settings. It's at a very low bit rate at 720p 60, so it should be more stable this time. Okay, I'm going to kind of have to just redo everything in that sense. So, hey, this is DP27 The Light, and today I'm going to do a comparison of two laptops, the MSI Delta 15 and the HP Omen 15. The whole goal here is to try to compare performance per watt performance for basically RDNA 2 and Ampere. This is basically the best that you could get from a power profile perspective. Maybe the 6800M or the RTX 3080 might provide more performance per watt. You'd really have to test it out to figure out how low you can get and which one's performing better. But, one second. But I don't have that with me, but I'm going to test these two. I might tear them down if I have enough time. I kind of got killed for time a little bit because the stream got all messed up. But anyways, yeah, I know I've been gone for a very long time, and I know that the reason I'm streaming on this YouTube channel right now is because I got a large following sort of from editing together the Berserk films into kind of my idea of how to put the Egg of the King or the Golden Age arc into a animation film series because I like watching things like a film. I kind of don't like TV shows in a sense. I mean, I like them when they're good, and it's nice when they're good, but at the same time, I get kind of like I don't want to spend my life just watching TV. I wish, movies are just more quick and to the point. So that's why I edited together the Berserk films and did what I did. But beyond that, I also worked on my own film projects. I made a film called Edge of Chaos, which will be in the link. And I also have a new YouTube channel, which will be my will be what I focus on the most, called DB27 The Light is the name of the YouTube channel. I switched channels because there's kind of more of like thinking about, well, what do I really want to do? I just kind of, that first channel was just like a generic, you know, this is me, I'm a person kind of channel, but kind of a more of a thought process into what channel I want to make. So that's in the link as well. But today, which technology being another thing that I really like, not just filmmaking, but I like computers and I like video games and all that stuff. And I have two really awesome laptops, like I said before, and it's AMD versus Nvidia. Who is faster performance per watt is kind of the goal of what we want to find out here. And spoiler alert, I already kind of did the running because my stream got all messed up, but based off my testing, it looked like AMD was winning, but not by a large margin. They were, when you're running Cyberpunk 2077, 60 frames per second, with custom settings, with a kind of a locked 60 frames, and the frame was like real solid. AMD was pulling like 73 watts or so on the GPU, while the RTX 3070 was pulling a little bit more, like 80 watts, 78 watts. So it's not losing by a lot, but it was losing. So, and then we could test Linux, which actually Nvidia is going to kind of get their butts kicked in Linux. So let's get into the testing. Hopefully this stays stable. And if it does, I know from now on to live stream at 720p 60 frames a second with a low bit rate at my current location. Another reason I haven't been making videos and stuff like that too is because I have lived in a place with satellite internet. Internet has been horrible. If I wanted to make a video, I have to make a video, and I have to like go to Starbucks and upload the video in order to even post the video, because uploading was not an option with satellite internet. Anyway, let's jump into the systems here. So not that one. All right. Okay, so we'll jump straight into Cyberpunk again. Do this all over again. I guess I at least don't have to document it because I already kind of wrote that stuff down this time. And I'll take a moment to show you guys how I have this kind of set up. So both the laptops are here, and if I have time, I'll do a full breakdown of them, but I don't know if I will. The MSI is on the left, and the HP Omen is on the right, and the downside to the MSI in terms of like upgrading is that it's a pain in the butt tearing the thing apart and swapping out the M.2 drives and swapping out RAM. You basically have to really like tear the whole laptop apart. Compared to the Omen 15 on the right is really simple. You just open the back and you see everything, and it just takes a second to swap out both the memory and the storage. Both of them can have two M.2 drives, and they can both have RAM upgrades. The MSI can change out the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if the Omen 15 can. I can't remember. But yeah, and the MSI weighs less, which is really cool. The MSI is a super small, tiny 4-pound little laptop that the amount of performance you're getting for that size is just crazy. Okay, so I'm going to click this battery on real quick. So that battery is showing you how much the whole system's pulling. I actually have both laptops plugged in right now, so it's a little inaccurate. And I said it earlier, but my whole stream got messed up. But anyways, cool thing about this, I mean, I can take this anywhere in a sense, because I'm going to unplug the RTX 3070 because I have them both plugged in right now. A little drop in wattage. So that battery, it says right there, it will last 12 hours pulling 80 watts. I have an electric car, and if I plug this battery into my electric car, I can actually charge the battery for 100 watts, which at that point, with how much wattage it's currently pulling, it would say that it would go forever actually if I did that. But obviously it would run out once the car battery runs out. But that is pretty neat stuff. So let's take a look at Cyberpunk 2077. And see what we get. Like I said, it's probably going to be pulling. The whole system is probably going to be pulling somewhere between it. Oh, it's really bumping up there during the load times. I have not noticed that. You guys can't see it, but it popped up to like 150 watts when I started to load the game. Huh. That is interesting. It's pulling more wattage than it did last time. That is really strange. We got it on balanced. It's pulling a lot more wattage now. Well, that is really interesting. I am not sure what the deal is with that. That's so strange. I'll show you guys the settings for this system. Which it should just be the same as the other one. These are just custom settings. They're really good settings, especially for a 1080p 60 FPS experience. And the reason I'm locking the frame rate is that really kind of locks the power being pulled from the system. So, wow, it is pulling just way more power than I was expecting. So this is the MSI Delta 15 right now. Let's see what that says for GPU power. It says it's pulling about 76 watts. So it could be coming from the CPU. It says the CPU is pulling around 17 watts, 18 watts. I don't know, but it is pulling more power than it was previously. Obviously, I mean, depending on what location you're at and what is happening on screen. I guess before I was in a less intensive spot. Saw a big drop to 110. I don't know what that's about. Well, all right, so now we're going to run Metro Exodus on Actually, let's just do Horizon Zero Dawn for right now. Fortunately, it's playing on the wrong monitor. That's weird. There we go. All right. I'm going to be back, but I'm just going to run this benchmark real quick and see what we get for frames. Well, the stream seems to be running a lot smoother now. I wish I would have done that earlier. Oh well. It looks like I forgot to cap the frame rate on this. I mean, unlock the frame rate. But for a smooth maxed out 60 frames, done. Here, let's VSync off. Well, it was a really rocky start, but I think things are better off at the moment because the stream is real clean, and we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Horizon Zero Dawn. This is with a balanced profile for the MSI Delta 15 compared to, which means that it's pulling somewhere around like 70 to 75 watts. Currently, it's saying that on my battery, the total system power is bouncing around between 130 to 150 watt. It's honestly kind of getting up there. But obviously we're pushing the frame rates at this point. Let's see what the CPU temp is. CPU cooling's going really well. 82 Cs. And that's a 4-pound laptop. I'm really impressed with the cooling on the MSI. It has really good cooling, and the fan noise is really low compared to the HP Omen. It sort of depends. Both computers run really well in Linux, actually, when it comes to the auto fan config, which is really good because I can't really adjust it, whereas in Windows there's a lot of apps and stuff you can use to tweak the fan settings to get it the way you want it. But with all these laptops in general, for AMD laptops, you should check out the Ryzen controller because it really lets you tweak the CPU so it's not getting so hot and not doing more work than that's needed. Depending on what you want to do. I'm not a high frame rate gamer, so I guess I'm kind of an oddball in that sense. 60 frames is fine for me, so that's just kind of how I operate. But that's why I'm been more interested in terms of performance per watt is kind of the focus that I have. And really, I mean, honestly, I don't know why people look at high frame rate for a laptop, because I'm like, what the heck are you even getting a laptop for? The higher the frame rate, the more power you're going to be pulling. That's just the nature of running high frame rate. It's just more energy. So somebody entered chat, Titan. Titan, do you have any interest in a gaming laptop, I suppose? Be a question to ask you. So we got 69 frames per second on the 6700M for the MSI Delta 15. And I suppose I should put a link in it, but you can get this on Best Buy right now if anyone is interested. But 69 frames a second. We'll exit out of that. Well, I suppose I will. I'll put it on extreme performance so you can just get a look at how it performs. I'm really shocked that nobody's even talking about the 6700M or the 6600M. There's like no videos on it currently. I mean, the Omen 16 with the 6600M has been out for a while now. I didn't want to get it because of the Infinity cache was so low. I was just like, seems like I'm wasting money for such a GIMP GPU. Well, frame rate's doing good now for people who are highly invested in it. 90 frames, getting up to 90. Roughly speaking, these laptops, these lower profile laptops too, I mean, if you get a higher one, it's probably going to perform a little better, but you're basically just talking about having like a GTX 1080 Ti in a laptop, which to me, I think is more exciting than having an RTX 3080 or something like that. I think having a device that you can take from A to B that performs like a GTX 1080 Ti is insane. I'm going to check the wattage. It's pulling a lot more power now, though. Look at that. It's pulling. Wow. But, I mean, it jumped up to, I mean, the GPU must have went from like, from 75 watts to 110 watts. So now it's pulling up there, 182, 173. That is a lot of power. The sad state of PC gaming. It's just really interesting seeing everyone's reactions to GPU prices and how people are just buying these outrageous devices. But I feel like, honestly, laptops right now are kind of the nicest thing to get right now. You get a brand new system and just a very portable device and things that you just can't do with a desktop. But 86 frames per second. I'm going to switch back over to balanced. All right, let's try ray tracing for the Delta 15. For some reason, I'm not seeing the executable. Well, that's too bad. Welp. I suppose I'll run Shot of the Tomb Raider. I really don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what happened. I had some kind of transfer issue. At least the stream runs smooth. Full screen. Yeah, AMD is pulling a lot more power than I thought it was going to. It was pulling less power before. I just don't understand what changed. I think for the sake of just making this a little easier for me, I'm just not even going to write down the differences and just take a look at them after the live stream. But The CPU temps on the Delta 15 is really good. Really impressive. It's a smaller laptop than the L115 and it stays cooler. .98 frames a second. Oh, that's right. I wanted to test out the performance mode. Off we go. How much power is it gonna pull? Find out. Whoa, it is going all the way up to almost 200 watts. Damn. It's also hitting some pretty high frame rates. And that CPU temperature is looking really good too. Fan noise gets louder though, of course, when you play like this. And the fan noise is a bit lower in Linux, I believe, for the Delta 15. Yeah, I think this is going to be the best performance I've ever seen on Shadow of the Tomb Raider for any of the laptops I've tested, which is RTX 3070 and 6700M are the two mains. Wow, 170. I mean, at this point, this is performing like a RTX 2080 at this point. This is actually pretty shocking. I was not expecting this performance. It's going to get hit heavy right here. I believe it's a pretty hard section. So I know in Horizon it was probably in the 70s unbalanced, and then it got up into the 80s when you bumped it up to performance. We got 98 on Shadow of the Tomb Raider with balanced mode. But from what I can see here, we're going to be hitting somewhere around the 100 something. See if it... I think the most I got on my RX 5700 desktop was 112. And that beat it. This is faster than an RX 5700. It's probably similar to the same speed as an RX 5700 XT, which is crazy for a laptop. Okay. We're done with that one. Let's move on to the RTX 3070. We'll start out in balanced mode. Well, when I did Cyberpunk with the Delta 15, it was kind of interesting because, we're for Cyberpunk, we're doing a full locked 60 frames a second because we're just trying to see the performance per watt aspect of it. And AMD did really good the first test, but the second time it was a lot higher. So I almost don't even know what to think. But we'll just take a look and see what Nvidia does, the RTX 3070. Okay, so go to settings. So those are the settings. They're very optimal, and basically it just about guarantees you're going to have a locked 60 frames a second. Let's see what the power is pulling out of the whole system. Looks like it's pulling around 130, 135, 142. I mean, I guess in general, both systems are jumping up and down between 120 and 150 watts with Cyberpunk 2077. I could swap to this to performance mode, but it seems kind of pointless. What's the point? The frame rate is rock solid. And the CPU temps are actually doing pretty good too on this one. All right. Well, I think we'll call it good on Cyberpunk. suppose at the very least with Horizon Zero Dawn and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we'll just see who's faster. But performance per watt seems just neck and neck. No real difference. Alright, this is in balanced mode. My guess is going to be somewhere in the 70s. And I'll let you know how much power it's pulling. I don't know what people's thoughts are on the Steam Deck, but it's kind of interesting, thinking of the difference between a laptop and the Steam Deck, where it's like the Steam Deck will be more portable. It will have like the qualities of the Nintendo Switch, but its performance is just nothing compared to modern day laptops. And when you compare the performance between laptops and desktops, it's just, what's the point of having a big clunky desktop that's getting you some more frames, more performance, but I don't know, I feel like 40 to 20% performance increase is just not all that great. But that's my opinion. Depends on how you look at it too, of course. Because obviously the performance I'm getting right now is not that great, but again, we're only pulling 80 watts on the RTX 3070. So that's really low right now. Really low amounts of power being pulled. Or, if you got the Lenovo Legion 5, you'd be pulling like 130 right now, and you'd be getting higher frames. But I think it's more interesting how much performance you can get with a lower power profile. So the frame rate is going 130, 140. Overall, the story so far with both these laptops is they both pull somewhere between 120 to 150 watts when running them. If you run max frame rates, it's going to be up there in 140, 150 watt. Whereas if you cap the frame rate at 60 frames a second or something, you'll probably be a bit lower, 120, 140. It probably bumps up in power wattage just when there's just more shit going on in the frame. Well, now the Omen is showing its true colors with the 93C CPU temp, which isn't awful, but once I hit performance, it's probably going to get even worse. Again, check out Ryzen Controller if you want to lower your CPU temps with very minimal performance loss. I think Ampere's doing worse here, I believe. 68 frames a second. Yeah, I believe AMD won that one. I think AMD got, I'll be able to check it in the video later, but I believe it was in the 70s, pulling like 75 watts. So that is a win for AMD. But, and I believe it got like 86 watts once we went to. All right. So I think the 6700M got about 86 frames on this benchmark. So now we'll see, which in this bench, so it's kind of interesting. The 6700M pulls less power and balanced, and it pulls more power and performance. Roughly speaking, 5 watts less in balanced mode at around 75 watts, and then it's going to pull 10 or 15 more watts on performance mode. Yeah, you can hear that fan. That's what's making the noise right now. That's the other downside if you're going to run it on performance, is that you're going to have to deal with fan noise. And with the HP Omen 15, it doesn't let you really make any changes. Looks like I'm getting called into work, so I'm going to have to cut the stream short, unfortunately. But I kind of got the hang of it, so I think I might do another live stream coming up, taking a closer look at these laptops again, and maybe this time diving into Linux. Kind of got everything all set up now, so just kind of a matter of setting it back up again and then doing the tests. But before I end it, I'll probably just take a quick look at the MSI, just give you kind of a close look at it, because that's kind of the new system that's out there right now that people don't know about. Suppose I'll plop a link into that. Oh, maybe I should. Yeah. Oh, man. In Horizon Zero Dawn, RTX 3070 got stomped. Absolutely stomped. Wow. That's pretty bad. Wow. I was not expecting that. I swear I've seen better performance than that, though, from it. So, kind of interesting. But let's just do Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This is going to be the last thing I do for today, because I got other stuff going on, unfortunately. Come on, Steam, load. What are you doing, Steam? There we go. So I'm a very strange person, if none of you know, but because I don't just like video games, I'm actually into bodybuilding and veganism and all that stuff, which offends people. People are offended by vegans. But yeah, I'm currently cutting right now and getting my body fat levels down pretty low. And it's going really well. 30 days out, hoping to hit 5% body fat. And then from there, start bulking. But all right, 1 second. Let's focus on the laptop here. So we're on balanced mode, I believe. Balanced mode. Yes, balanced mode. All right, let's run. I'm really sad that I don't get to showcase Linux, because that's what I care the most about. I don't even care about Windows, but yeah. And I prefer GOG, of course, too. That's why I'm showcasing Cyberpunk 2077, despite the fact that it's a very disappointing game. You play it and you're like, wow, this game really sucks. Why is this game so bad? I don't know, but it's horrible. Okay. Yeah, RTX 3070 is not looking so hot. Yeah. All right. It's at least I can run DaVinci Resolve 17 in Linux with the RTX 3070. I gotta give it that, but it's still not that impressive. All right. Yeah, it's not looking too good for the RTX 3070 here, because this pretty much showcases that AMD's doing better, at least with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. 84. 84 frames a second. That is pathetic. Wow. Almost makes me mad a little bit. Is there anything with the settings that would cause it to perform like that? That is not impressive. My Vega 56 laptop was performing like that, given it was pulling more power, but that was not impressive. Alright, let's see what we get here. And then after this, I'm just going to do not a tear down, but I'm just going to give you a quick look at the MSI Delta 15, because that's what most people would be curious about right now, since nobody has made videos on it. I gotta say, this is weird. The way the RTX 3070 is performing is really strange. Given we know that, AMD has an advantage with the smart shift technology. That might even be part of the reason why it was getting its ass kicked, but there could be something to do with the mux switch too. I have the MSI plugged through an HDMI, and I have the Omen 15 plugged through HDMI. So what could possibly be going on here, and it could be also why I'm seeing higher power on the Cyberpunk 2077 with the MSI Delta 15, is that my guess is that the MSI right now is running with the mux switch disabled, where the HDMI on the Omen 15 is not. There's a display port on the Omen 15, and there's USB-C on both of them. So that could be why we're seeing such a difference right now in results, which is real tricky. I mean, I guess with these laptops, you really have to just check every single port and compare, but because this performance is just awful. 84 frames a second? What? Oh, this is unreal. Wow. What a dud. Well, alright. The Delta 15 is looking better every second. Okay. So, I have to wind the stream down. I'm probably going to do another stream later on where I cover all this stuff, but let's go ahead and just shut that down because it's screaming right now. So we'll just take a quick look at the MSI Delta 15. There it is. All right, so that's a look at the MSI Delta 15 right there. Now, it has one major flaw, and that is that it does not have an Ethernet jack. That's why I have this little bad boy over here. As you can see, this is an Ethernet port. That'll work to fix the problem, but let's go ahead and take a closer look. Just give you a quick look at the keyboards, mouse pad. It has I think it's like a 720p webcam. I would never use it personally, but that's just me. Okay. 1 second. So you can see this is the wobble of the screen. I'm never really too worried about the wobble of screens at all. Honestly, Omen 15 has been really criticized for that, but I don't see a problem with it. Seems fine to me. In terms of the display, will go all the way down. You know, so. So yeah, you can really flatten that out. Again, this is the MSI Delta 15 if you're not aware. I suppose you have to repeat things a million times. I think one of the reasons why it has pretty good cooling is the fan design, because if we look in over here, it's got fans right there. It's got fans right here, which is smart, but that's not the only aspect of it. Punch out for a second here. I'm going to close it. Just going to unplug the HDMI. Go ahead and take a look at the ports. I don't like the I/O as much as I like the Omen 15, but I gotta say I really liked the performance that I'm getting here. So pan up just a little bit, get a little bit more light. It's not the best lighting situation, but make do. So you got HDMI, you got an HDMI, USB 3.2, I believe, and USB-C. Now, there's no Ethernet port, but there is a fix. which I thought was one of the biggest flaws. And the other thing, I showed you the fans on the inside, but then you have the fans over here on the outside and fans in the back. And I believe there's GPU, CPU. I'm not sure which one's on which side, but as you can see, there's a fan on that side and a fan over here. But anyway, so it basically has like two little fans here, and it's the way that it's sort of open here in the back. So just air is just coming out every end with two fans blowing on the CPU and the GPU. But yeah, if you just get an Ethernet port like this, something like that, USB adapter, and then boom, you don't have to worry about it. But anyways, in terms of the ports, like I said, HDMI, USB-C, and USB 3.2. I think they're all Gen 2 as far as I know. And then you got the having trouble staying in focus here. I think I'm just gonna make it so I don't move it around so much. But it's pretty much the same story here. USB-C, you got the power adapter right there, and the 3.5 millimeter jack, headphone jack, and USB 3. And that's it. Very minimalistic design. I mean, really, that's just kind of the nice thing about it, honestly. This laptop is just extremely light. Extremely light laptop. Weighs like 4 pounds. I'll go grab the power brick just so you can look at that real quick. So that's the power brick for you. And that's sort of the comparison to the Omen 15. So it's pretty much the same size, really. Not much of a difference here. And yeah, the Omen pulls 100 watts, and then the MSI will be pulling up to 115 watts if that's the performance that you need. So from what I can tell, it's a smaller laptop and it outperforms the Omen 15. And I mean, with a lot of laptops you get with the crappy RAM, even Lenovo Legion 5 and all those don't perform that great. And you typically have to change out the RAM. From what I can tell, both my Omen 15 and the MSI Delta 15 don't really need RAM upgrades. They seem to actually come with good RAM, so that's another thing to consider when you're getting these laptops, is you don't have to worry about the RAM aspect of it, unless they change things, which they could always possibly do. But yeah. All right, 1 second here. running a little hot right now. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Okay. It's hard to focus using OBS. All right, so well, that was a look at MSI Delta 15 and the HP Omen 15, trying to compare AMD and Nvidia, basically who's faster, performance per watt. And AMD was outperforming in a lot of different scenarios. I think part of it might be because the mux switch might be disabled on the Delta 15 compared to the Omen 15 through HDMI. There's other ports that you can connect to on both systems, so there's a lot of different aspects to that. I suppose maybe I should try the DisplayPort. I don't know if I have a DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort HDMI adapter to test the Omen 15, but yeah, it's a bit hard to say what's going on with the results because of that, but it was fun to take a look at them anyways. No one's made a video yet showcasing the MSI Delta 15, so that's kind of like a little look at it. You saw some of the benchmarks, and I'm really impressed with it. I mean, yeah, it's turned out really good. I didn't realize it was gonna be that great. I would say it probably is pretty much the exact same thing as getting the 6800M. You're really just getting the same performance, and I guess you have like lower stream processors and less infinity cache, and but yeah, the Asus model was a sloppy design. I feel like MSI did a good job here from what I can tell. The only critique is just they don't have a mux switch again, which is just another frustrating aspect to the system, but it's no different on the Asus model anyways with the 6800M. But yeah, that's a look at these. I'll probably do a live stream again just because things got kind of messed up. My first live stream didn't even happen, and it just got completely borked, which, by the way, I should check. Am I still live? On OBS, it says everything's going great. Yeah. It's a little glitchy every now and then, but looks like it's going good. Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, so I think I'll add a link to the Best Buy for the MSI Delta 15, which, it's in stock. I would get it over the 6600M, even though it costs more, but I think it's worth the price. And I think gaming laptops is like the way to go right now with GPU mining and all that stuff. It's just kind of the sweet spot right now. These laptops that I'm testing, they're basically GTX 1080 Ti's. It's the best way to look at it. They're GTX 1080 Ti's. Sometimes they perform like an RTX 2080, getting close to 2080 Ti territory. It's very impressive. So highly recommended if you're looking to get into gaming and you need like more performance or whatnot. These laptops kick butt. If you get the Ryzen models, and which I would recommend because Ryzen, the 5800H pulls less power. It doesn't provide as much performance, but I don't know about Intel, but with AMD, you can use Ryzen controller and you can customize your temperature and your wattage on your CPU. So depending upon your thermal situations, you can adjust things. Which, again, from my thermal testing with the Omen 15 and the Delta 15, the Delta 15 has better thermals and it's weighs a pound less. So it's fascinating how well it's doing. The biggest downside, again, is upgrading it. You really have to rip the laptop apart, which I plan to do another video talking about that in a live stream. But I have to go to work earlier than I expected, so I kind of have to head out at this point. Again, this is my old YouTube channel. I plan to move things over to DP27 the Lite in the long run. Link is in the description for that. And then also I made a feature film, Edge of Chaos, which is also linked in the description too if you're interested in filmmaking. It's a post-apocalyptic film that's about the world falling apart because of a virus, which is ironic given the current state of things at times. But yeah, this is DB27 the Lite, and I have to go over here to end the live stream. End stream.